Russia amassing unprecedented military might in the Arctic. Headline CNN. Saber-rattling, or should we be concerned? Let's go. CNN tweets out and puts out a piece on Russia and amassing military strength in the Arctic, readying super weapons tests and securing key shipping ports. We're going to look at the video. They do stress over and over that it's because of global warming. So there's a lot of moving parts here. Russia is, everybody's racing to the Arctic, right? Everybody wants to find out what's there. I think they've determined there's oil. You experts let me know. We'll take a look at the piece, but it definitely seems like there's some saber rattling. How much of this is really a concern for us as U.S. citizens or our allies? I'm not really sure, but I sure hope as hell we're not going for another war. Let's take a look at the video.
It's a new frontier, expanding for all the wrong reasons, with pushy neighbours rushing in. Russia is seeing the Arctic ice melt fast and filling the gap with a military buildup, some of it on Alaska's doorstep, not seen since the Cold War. Key is a new generation of superweapons like the...
They say it's on Alaska's doorstep, and it is, but it's also on Russia's doorstep. So I think for people who don't put this in context, it can seem a little jarring. When people watching this at the airport and they see the Chiron, they go, wow, are they readying us for war? If you listen to this piece, which we will, you'll find seems like they are.
Poseidon, 120-mile-an-hour nuclear-propelled stealth torpedo. It's designed, say Russian officials, to sneak past US coastal defenses and detonate a warhead, causing a radioactive tsunami to hit the east coast with contaminated water. Experts told CNN the weapon is, quote, very real. It'll be tested in the summer near Norway, whose intelligence head said it's not only the ecological damage that could be bad.
It is in a testing phase. It's a strategic system and it's aimed at targets and has then an influence far beyond the region in which they test it currently.
Well, any type of nuclear warhead that would be detonated underwater would have a huge impact. Displacement of water. So if they did it in the Arctic, where that water is displaced could be 1,000 miles away. Clearly, it's a problem. Time you see an earthquake underwater creates a tsunami, could create all sorts of problems. I can't imagine why Russia would want this. Now, I'm a pacifist by nature. Russia wants to control the economic outcome, the economic value of the Arctic, of course. We do too. So does China. Everybody's going for that. I think they determine there's a lot of oil up there and other resources that are unknown at this point, at least to us civilians.
Some said Russian President Vladimir Putin was fantasizing when he revealed this and other new weapons, like the hypersonic Zircon missile in 2018. But continuing development and tests make them very real.
Russia is projecting an image that it's developing new technologies, and this, of course, is destabilizing the strategic balance.
They are now starting to develop those capabilities that could reach
the U.S. media really is hell-bent on Russia. China has been amassing islands all along the Pacific, extending their reach, right? Taking reefs, making them islands. We haven't heard as much, or I haven't heard as much about China. It seems like every time we exit a war, we enter another war. We enter some more conflict. Now, I know CNN's doing this for clicks, right? You got to get people to watch this, people like me talking about it. That's good for their business as well.
United States and its NATO allies.
That's not all Russia is up to. CNN has obtained satellite images revealing the persistent buildup of Russian bases along its northern coastline, part of what a US State Department official called a military challenge. Close to Alaska, at Providence and Wrangel Island, are two new radar stations with, stationed in Anadyr, a quick reaction alert force of bombers and jets. West in Kotelny, a thin strip of land has seen, over 7 years, the slow growth of a large airstrip. And in Nagurskoye, in the northernmost point, is another base that's sprung up since 2015, one of several in the Arctic decorating the colours of the Russian flag. Nagurskoye and the nearby airfield of Rogachevo are both home to MiG-31 jets, recent arrivals.
Now, I know Finland, Norway, and Sweden have big concerns. I would suspect these countries are more focused on it than we are. With our support, We see our U.S. troops doing Arctic exercise all the time, Arctic training in Finland, in that area. I'm not sure what the difference here is with the bases. This has been going on quite a while, right? They're developing their bases. How this relates to the Arctic buildup. We're talking about from 2011 to 15 on some of these.
And further west at Alenia Guba on the Kola Peninsula, over the past 4 years, experts believe a storage facility has slowly been built up for the Poseidon torpedo.
Russia has had its eye on being the Arctic power for years and is now moving to make that happen. Yes, this is its coastline for sure, but US officials have expressed concerns to me that this build-up is not just about protecting, it's also about projecting power across the ice, even towards the North Pole.
There are new resources.
Now, Russia's got a massive coastline. It's a massive country. Look at China compared to Russia. Even though I know that, when I look at the map, it's such a big region. They do have a lot of coastline to protect. Now, are they protecting it from an invasion? No, they're protecting it from people taking their resources, or their perceived resources, right? Who owns the Arctic? Who should get the resources up there? Well, you think Russia would say, we have the biggest claim, we're the closest. U.S. says, well, we have Alaska, we're the closest. Realizing Alaska we bought from the Russians, relatively new state, relatively new region for us. I can see why Russia would want it. I can see why we want it. Now, what do we do about it? CNN's got a very macabre Hollywood-style way of approaching it. He's showing it to an American audience.
To exploit under the ice, yes. But Russia released this video in January of the first time a freighter got through the ice in the east in the thick winter to sell a new trade route along its northern coast. It's a possible moneymaker for the Kremlin, cutting the current journey time from Asia to Europe through the Suez Canal nearly in half. US officials voiced concern.
Now, what would be wrong with that? If the Russians can cut a new path for commerce to happen, it's cheaper. I'm sure there's some fee involved, right? They have to keep cutting it with their ships. They did it. We didn't do it. I don't know that it's due to global warming. I think technology's changed. Our understanding of how to cut through ice has changed. But if they do make a new shipping route that saves time and money and helps commerce around the world, that's a good thing. I perceive that to be a benefit of this Russian exploration up there.
To CNN that Russia is already demanding ships use Russian crews and get permission to cross it. In response to Russia's build-up, the US has sent B-1 bombers to fly out of and Marines to train in Norway. Who gets there first makes the rules, they say.
That statement from CNN's a tad misleading. Marines have been training in Norway for years for Arctic training. Nothing new under the sun there. There's no build-up. We do it every year. We do it in Korea as well. We've got to get our troops trained in the Arctic for that type of climate for warfare. We all do it. Everyone does. It's been going on for years, decades.
In the rush for a place nobody should want to be conquerable.
Now, Alison, of course, we did reach out to the Russian Foreign Ministry for comment and to Russian experts too. We received no response to that, and Russia has always maintained that its goals there are economic and peaceful, simply about developing their northern coastline. Remember, that is their coast, but it's a coastline they've always been able to rely on the ice to act as a natural defence for them, and that ice is disappearing. So amongst all that talk there of military hardware, of doomsday weapons like the Poseidon, frankly, for me, the most terrifying aspect is quite how fast that ice is disappearing.
Unfortunately, I think a lot of people are cynical on the global warming. It used to be called global warming, now it's climate change. This man was saying, well, Russia is worried about it because of the climate change, in this case, warming. I don't know that it's true. I don't want to get into the debate about that. What do you guys think about Russia doing this in the Arctic? Is it anything new under the sun? Haven't they been doing this a while? We've been doing it. We bought Alaska, which is closest to their country. I don't see much to this story, but this is going to be a big deal in the headlines, maybe to divert away from other things in our country. There's always something, whatever administration. I don't care if it's Bill Clinton or Joe Biden or Trump. Always something in the media to keep us watching. And by the way, thanks for watching.